So me and Cody got to be friends probably 7, 8 years old. One of my first friends, first, second grade at Nativity School in South Scranton. We pretty much hit it off immediately.
I met Cody when we were 4 or 5 years old, preschool at Montessori. Stayed friendly as you do. I went to St. Paul's in Greenridge. He went to Nativity in Southside, Marian Catholic. And then we became better friends once we got to prep together. Played freshman basketball together for Coach Gibbons.
I think I met Cody when he was somewhere in the area of 9 years old. We were at St. Mary's in that little dungeon of a gym down all those steps, and quickly became apparent that he stood out a little bit in terms of his physicalness.
Cody was a different character. He would guard the other team's best player and kind of relish in the fact of he was a strong kid. He loved to lift weights. I think the biggest thing that stuck out about Cody was, he was not the best basketball player. And he was the first one to tell you that. He was not the best basketball player, but he's just like one of those guys that you wanted to play with because he did all of like the dirty work that somebody on a basketball team would do.
Cody was the kind of kid you can count on to be very physical. You didn't have to tell him twice. He'd just run you over. It was great.
Cody thrived in chaos. Oftentimes it was of his own doing, either by the way he played. He was an awesome trash talker.
He loved like mind games like that, and his just like ultra competitive nature, I feel like really came out in a way that made him valuable to pretty much every team that he played on, even though he wasn't the one that was always scoring or the best shooter or, the best player on the team. He was valuable in a way that was like just him.
Ninth grade basketball is played on Monday afternoon. And then if you had another game, it was played on Thursday. You followed the boys' schedule but it was always at 4 o'clock. So practice on Friday was non-negotiable. We practiced on Friday. No Cody. And I'm saying to these other guys, like, where's Brace? Not here. And to me, that's a huge deal. Like, you've got to be at practice. Shows up Saturday, and practice jersey's on, and he's got these buckles sticking out of the side of his practice jersey. And I said, yo, what do you got on there? Lifted up, said, I got a brace on, coach. I said, what are you talking about, a brace? I said, you didn't tell me. Like, how could I let you play with that? And he said, my mom said it's okay. Yeah, well, I'm calling her. And if she doesn't say it's okay, you can't play. So what are you, out of your mind, showing up here in a back brace, being able to play? Telling you, she's gonna say it's okay. So, all right, call her. Yeah, Billy, it's okay, he could play. I said, you sure? I said, this thing looks like something out of a movie. And she's like, no, it's all right, it's just a bruise. Okay. I said, all right, Brace, you're in. And I was thrilled to have him back because there was a loss of that kind of kid that he brought to practice. So Cody was one of those kids that if things got kind of physical, if things got kind of rough in a game, if you really needed somebody to back you up, Cody Brace would do that. And that sticks out.
Cody always kind of had this perspective of like seeing the bigger picture. While we were like concerned about like winning and losing games, Cody was networking, building friendships with, people that we played against. Instead of focusing on winning and losing a game that obviously isn't going to matter in 20 years, he was winning people over. And he was just had a special talent for connecting with people, being interested in people was a huge thing. I mean, he was kind of just like this magnetic personality.
I can't think of Cody and not think of the way he was able to joke with you and to really bust your balls. But he never made you feel as though you were the butt of a joke. He always made you feel as though he was doing it because he cared for you.
He always had this like caretaker quality to him, like that he always wanted everybody in his group of friends to be good. He wanted everyone to be okay.
He cared for others very much, very deeply. And yeah, you don't, when you're in the day-to-day as a friend, you don't see that. But when you take a step back, it's very easy to see that he was certainly wiser beyond his years. Not to make it morbid, but you don't need your kidney when you die. You don't need your heart when you die. We have met a kid that graduated from high school that otherwise would very likely not be here because Cody had the foresight and the care to be an organ donor. And to see somebody that is literally alive because Cody had the foresight and the care to donate something from himself after he didn't need it anymore, it's almost overwhelming.
When Cody passed away, he gave 9 life-saving organs and passed, his life on to other people, and his tragic loss and his friends and family's tragic loss was a huge opportunity for 9 other people to receive organs.
I honestly don't think when I was 22 years old I knew whether or not I was an organ donor. The fact that he knew that he was an organ donor, that he was willing to give up so much of himself to make sure that all of these actual people lived because of him, that speaks to who he was at 22. And that 22-year-old was the same person at 16. It was probably the same person at 5 when I met him in the halls at Montessori.
Cody, I would say, exemplified that. I mean, he was a caretaker to his friends and family, and in his life, that carried over in his death as well. And like I said, it was obviously a huge loss to all of us, but his loss resulted in a huge positive for 9 people that can continue their life and their journey. And we can kind of look at it as the bigger picture when we look back on probably the most tragic experience most of us have gone through.
There's huge gaps in what insurance can provide and what patients need, especially for an aging population, especially for specialty populations. And it's not easy what patients are facing. They are struggling to decide whether or not to take their medication or to buy groceries. That's an often, I think, sometimes overused trope, but it's real, where patients really do struggle to decide whether or not to take their meds or to buy food.
I think it's somewhere around 6,600 people in Lackawanna County alone are waiting for solid organ transplantation. So we need all the help we can get. Our OTAP program is helping real people. The fact that real people are hitting real life milestones because of our foundation. And insurance companies take care of the organ transplant, but nothing like the in-between costs, like the hotels, the tolls to get out to these hospital visits and these doctor visits, gas and lodging, things that most people just don't even think of, that is not even really part of the medical kind of transplantation side of things that these people need. There's this whole other stage of life of doctor visits and follow-ups and checkups and travel and expenses that are not covered by insurance companies. They're not covered by any type of other program that exists in their life. And that's where OTAP steps in and kind of bridges the gap and continues along with them on their journey, on their medical journey to get back on their feet, to get back to a normal life, being a dad, a husband, a mom, a son, a daughter, all of those things that, we take for granted.
My name is Karen Nicole Sims. I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey, born and raised. I went to school all my life here, all the way up to college, graduated in JCU. I have one son, and I'm married. Uh, I'm pretty much the heartbeat of my family. I have 4 grandkids. One live with me. 3 are there in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem part of Pennsylvania. And I'm a realtor, broker associate here for Keller Williams Realty. I've been doing real estate over 23 years, and my heartbeat is making people happy with home ownership and making people have smiles on their face because they invested in their future and building generational wealth. 2018, I was living my best life, probably one of my best years in real estate. Everything seemed like it was going fine. I do 2 functions. One is the Realtors Convention in Atlantic City called Triple Play. At Triple Play, I found myself couldn't keep up between school at night and networking in the evenings. I was very, very exhausted and tired. And then I do a lobster fest in November, and I usually stay on the dance floor because I love dancing. And I couldn't keep up. I would sit down. I was getting up, sitting down. I was like, something is wrong because I can dance all night long. I closed the dance floor. So what's going on that I can't keep up? I continue to be tired. In March of 2019, I said, okay, let me go to the doctor, see what's going on. And it was alarms immediately went off. I got to see the nephrologist. I got to do this. I got to do that. My blood work was off the chart. My kidney function had dropped to below 20, which about 19, which immediately qualifies you to be on a transplant list. So it was panic mode. It was, what do I do next? It was fear. It was depression. It was, this is not my life. What's going on? All in a 48-hour period. Like my world turned a 360 upside down. So from there, I had to get myself together mentally. I had to make sure that financially, I was staying focused because I didn't know what CKD was going to bring me through, which is chronic kidney disease. I didn't know where that was going to take me, where my life was going. So I made sure I went to all my doctor appointments, did any testing that was required. Immediately, because I was under stage 20, got on a transplant list, doing their questions and their testing to qualify to get on that list. It's a lot. I stopped drinking. I started walking. I cut out red meat. I increased my water intake. Whatever I felt I could do or read to help my body, I was doing it. And for a little bit, it worked, Mike. My count went from 19 to 25. Now I'm over 20, so I can't continue the transplant list because you need to be under 20. But then the pandemic happened and the world shut down. And I was slowly dying on my couch. And my numbers dropped back to that 20. So now I had to go back through the process of getting back on the list, getting back with the testing that you need to get so that you can get approved. And it got to the point where the doctor said, Karen, I'm going to have to put you on dialysis. That was December of 2022. She said, January, you're going on, I'm going away, and I cannot leave you without knowing that you're in the right hands on dialysis. So 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 to 2, I sat in that chair and I did what I needed to do to continue to live, because I want to live. I want to be there for my family. So I went to dialysis every other day faithfully, and I use it as an extension of my office to do what I needed to do to survive, to live. January of 2023, I believe it was the 13th, they called me and said your date for the transplant would be the 26th. And on the 26th, I received my kidney from California. And that morning, 10 a.m., mine was a little bit late, but it got there, and I was able to get my transplant January 26th. Um, and that's how my journey began and started and ended, and it still continues because I have to forever be on pills. But those pills is what keep me alive. And through the foundation, the Cody Foundation, I'm able to have support and assistance with making sure that I get my medications, transportation, to and from, because I attend the clinics and the doctor appointments regularly. But the expenses of co-payments, medications, transportation, the foundation helps me with the assistance to make sure that I can do that without having any extra burden of worry. But you think about, are you going to make it the next day for to be there for your family? You think about the pain. Am I going to wake up from having cramps, bad cramps in my legs at night? Um, how am I going to get through to make sure that I'm here for them? I thought more about people than myself. I had my procedure done in Livingston, New Jersey at St. Barnabas Hospital. I had to rely on my sister to make sure that she take me, because as I told you earlier, my husband, full-time worker, full-time caretaker of his mom. It's about 55 minutes from my house. And she would get me to my appointments. My husband would get me to dialysis every morning and pick me up. We did make arrangements for that to happen. But then once the transplant came, my sister was there to take me, because not sure if everybody know, but when you have a transplant, you have to go back to the hospital, but it's a process in the beginning. So my sister would take me, and because of the foundation, I was able to make sure that I had the gas to make sure I can get back and forth, and give her something and have lunch. All that is incorporated in the assistance. When you're doing anything related to your transplant, you can have those receipts to be able to turn in, along with the making sure prescriptions, the prescriptions are real. The medication cost is real, and that was definitely a hardship. Um, so the foundation and the assistance with making sure I was getting my prescriptions monthly. When a loved one gets sick, it's just not them themselves. It's their whole community. It's their friends, it's their loved ones, it's their workmates that are affected when someone is sick, need a transplant, or major surgery of any sort. Everybody in that community, in that tribe, is affected. Um, and just knowing that someone is there is a great benefit to the person who needs that help and that assistance that's going through that situation at that time. My son is what he does on his when he's not working his full-time job, he's a personal chef. And he have a client, her name is Kelly, that he would cook for. And he told my story to his client about my transplant and what I was going through. And Kelly just so happens to be friends with the Barrises. And because she was friends, she was able to make a call on my behalf, to see if I can be part of the foundation, because my son, told her that, I needed help, that things were expensive, and that I would need some type of assistance if it was possible for me to be part of that foundation. So it was through my son, Ronald, that I was able to connect with Kelly, connect with the Barrises, and everybody is phenomenal at the foundation, from the volunteer workers to the family. I feel they are part of on my driver's license, I changed my status to being a donor, because I realized If I needed something at a point that was crucial in my life, other people too will need donations, whether it's living or whether it's deceased. So even if you can change the status on your driver's license to donor, it's going to help somebody. But to be a living donor is awesome. I call Chris Delson my lifeline. He's registered in my phone under Lifeline because that's what he is. He gave me life. And because of him, I get to be able to be part of my family life. I get to see my 4 grands grow up and live their lives and be a part of that. I get to be here with my 85-year-old mom, who's here today, and her 88-year-old friend, to be able to help them live life and enjoy life. So it is important that people recognize the world needs more living donors. And that living donor or that donor is going to be able to help another person, another human being, live their life and be happy. And although that recipient won't be 100% perfect, you're giving somebody the chance to do better in the world and do good for the world by being a living donor or a donor in itself.
You need a village around you to get through this. And we're here to support the patients, yes, but the village needs help. And if we can help 1 or 2 villages around these patients, then we're doing a damn good job, because it all just comes back to that transplant's going to be covered. But the bridge between transplant and life is just, it's not covered. And if we can cover some of that gap, then we're doing a hell of a job. Patients don't get better without the villages around them. And Cody, through his life and through his giving of his organs to so many people, but then 12 years of raising funds for families in this area, he's made sure that there are a lot of patients that have villages around them with the support, with the love that they need. And if we could take any burden off of these villages and these groups around the patient, we're doing a really good job. And the money raised here, it goes directly back to this community.